He's the prime cut passer from behind the meat counter. It's Fairway Frank. And introducing a 6'3" center who's a cut above the rest. Say hello to Audie Crooks.
Two guys, two Chris's, one network. Iowa Everywhere. It's time for Two Guys with Chris Williams and Chris Hassel. Presented by Fairway Meat and Grocery from the Channel Seed Studios. Where? Everywhere. Live and always on demand at Iowa Everywhere.
Hello. Good Wednesday morning to you all. My name is Chris Williams. I'm joined as always by one Chris Hassel. He resides in Florida. We are in the Channel Seed Studios, which brings us together.
No snow where I'm at. I got a lot of messages about, well, you got snow down in Florida. That's like 6 hours north. I'm good. It's not good weather, but it's 60 degrees.
Well, Chris, everybody has been concerned about you.
Well, rightfully so. That was my worst show of all time on Sunday. Everything about it. I was a mess, and I apologize. I'm just glad you didn't see me after the show ended when I had to call about the room service that never came. And
did you swear at those poor people?
I didn't. I kept my cool.
Because you are a national television personality. Like, people know who you are when you walk around.
So I called. I was like, hey, room 561, ordered room service an hour and 15 minutes ago. You said it would be less than 30 minutes. It never came. And the woman was like, what? It never came? I sent it in. The receipt was confirmed. I am so sorry. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send it to you for free. It's like, why? I can't. I've got to go. I'm done. I got to go. I got to go work.
I'm out.
And so she said, okay, all right. Well, here's what I'm going to do then. I'm going to credit the credit card on file $50. It's not my credit card that's on file. It's a corporate card that comes from New York City that I have no part of. So I don't get anything. I didn't get food and didn't get any bonus. Some travel consultant up in New York City probably just got an extra $50 thanks to me. But I went downstairs. There was a Starbucks. I got like a Starbucks breakfast sandwich, and they had this this little box of crackers and cheese and salami, and that's what I had.
Oh yeah, I've had one of them. The little protein. Yeah.
So I got this breakfast sandwich, the little protein box, and a black coffee, and it was $29.
How do these people sleep at night? I'll tell you what, these like when we go to Circa, those coffee shops in the casinos,
oh man,
they just rake it in. And then every time I'm at Circa and then I check my credit card, like when I get back to see what stupid things I did after dark, I spend so much money at that fuel place just loading up on Red Bull and like snacks when I'm going to bed. Oh my God. And then, it's like, a bag of pretzels, $9.
Well,
I mean, we were really concerned about you. I didn't know exactly what I was getting into when we started that show on Sunday, and
I didn't know how I was going to make it through the show. Honestly, I didn't.
You fought through it. We all appreciate that.
We somehow got through it, but it wasn't easy, and it was not. I was not. That wasn't like an act. I was legit in a bad place, but look, I got the Starbucks thing, and I went to the game. The game went overtime. It was a really
It
good
was
game.
a fun game. I actually watched like 3 minutes of it.
3 minutes during the NFL game.
I flipped it over. Yeah, it's halftime.
But then I got to the airport, and I sat down at the California Pizza Kitchen to have dinner. And I looked down at my khakis, and there's just pen marks all over them. Just pen squiggly marks all over the thighs of my khakis. So it was another thing. But you know what? The pizza was good. I got on the plane, sat row 35.
Didn't get to first class, huh?
Here's what happened. Right in front of me, we land in Salt Lake City, and the guy in 34A, as we are taxiing to the gate, gets up out of his seat and makes the people get out of his way. And the flight attendant was like, Sir, you can't get up. You can't get up. We're taxiing. This is an active taxiway. We're 1 minute from the gate. Sit down. And the guy's like, I can't. I gotta go.
Because he was going to miss his flight?
No, he was going to the bathroom.
Oh, he had to take a shit.
Yeah, we weren't at the gate yet. I don't know what happened. But so the woman, she's like, if you get up, I've got to call the captain. So sure enough, she gets on the phone. Captain, there is a man who just got out of his seat and is headed into the lavatory.
And this guy's going to blow it up.
I don't know. Then the captain gets on the loudspeaker and he's like, can everyone please take a seat? He stops the plane. I'm telling you, we were 20 feet from the jetway. Stops the plane.
And at this point, they're trying to make a point. Like,
yeah, and
listen,
I don't get
motherfucker,
what,
sit down.
But who cares? If somebody has to go to, why do you have to stop the plane? We're moving at 3 miles an hour. Just go.
But this is when a lot of times people in power, they've got to show you, hey, I'm in charge. I'm the mofo captain here.
He stops.
Not
he
you.
shuts the engines down, and
God.
everybody. There's 200 people on this plane. Have to wait for this guy to get out of the bathroom.
And could you hear him just blowing the thing up?
No, I don't know what happened. Like I don't know. I'm trying to give this guy some grace. Like maybe he's got like a colostomy bag that's about ready to explode or overflow.
That would be bad. Like that would be bad.
What if this guy is like battling cancer and he just feels so he's got to throw up?
Maybe he accidentally took a laxative for 14 months.
I don't know, but I felt horrible for the guy that had to do it. And man, that flight attendant was letting him have it. But anyway, I eventually got home at 6 a.m. and I'm good. I'm feeling much better now.
I really felt bad for you having to go through all that. It felt like it was really weighing on your soul.
I didn't have a soul on Sunday during that show. My soul had left my body. And as soon as we get into the Iowa men's basketball team, my soul might leave again.
Yeah. I guess, so the reason we're doing the show on Wednesday is because I'm traveling tomorrow to Arizona for the weekend. And it actually worked out really well to do the show today because Iowa and Iowa State both played last night.
Yeah.
I kind of thought today's show would be centered around Iowa State bouncing back from its first conference loss. The third-ranked Cyclones look to be back into form. That is not what today's lead is. And we'll get into it. I do want to thank our presenting sponsor, Fairway Meat and Grocery. We've been having one of those brutal cold spells when everybody just runs to the grocery store to stock up. I know I did that last Friday before this godforsaken. It's just last night the walk from my truck to Hilton Coliseum, and you just look around and you go, what in the hell are we doing with our lives? Why do we choose to live here?
You're right. The walk. And it's not just Hilton. It's Carver was the same way when I was covering games.
The Unidome, I think, is the worst.
The UNI campus is the worst for sure. But the walk in January and February from your car to the inside of one of these basketball stadiums with the wind whipping, and it's already dark out when you get to the game. God, I remember Like I used to have to carry this big tripod in, and my hands would freeze to the tripod.
Yeah, that gear is what makes it really, really brutal. I saw a guy, this poor bastard. I think he covered Central Florida, and he's in a rental car.
You think he came up from Orlando to cover the game?
I know he wasn't from here. And I know he was media, so he was either from Central Florida or he was like one of those ESPN like roadies, you know, the production guys. And because I'm walking from my truck to Hilton, and there's a designated media lot that is, it's respectable. They had us basically parking by Jack Trice Stadium for a while, and it's got us back to like where we're because they're doing all this construction now. We're in a good spot. I very much appreciate it. Iowa State puts us where they do. But this guy, he's showing him his media tag, and he's trying to park like literally right next to Hilton, like where the frickin' team bus is. And this guy is not prepared, like weather-wise, and this guy's like, no, you got to go back there. And he's pointing at it, and this guy's like, what? And this is like 30 minutes before tip, because I had to get my daughters to a bunch of places before the game last night, and I'm getting there a little bit late. And this guy just has a look of horror in his face because you can tell he doesn't even have like gloves. It truly is a hellish experience walking. You know what made it even worse was back when the Cyclones were 0-18 and you're making that walk during COVID.
God.
Oh. You're just miserable. You don't want to even go to the game. Kind of like what an Iowa fan may be experiencing right now. And maybe not a totally fair segue, but let's get into it. Iowa, home sweet home, not so much. This is not my statement. I think it was Pat Hardy, who's covered Iowa for decades, tweeted it may have been the worst crowd that he's ever seen for a Big Ten game.
It was the worst that I've ever seen.
That was worse than the Licklider years? Like, I don't know.
Yes, I think so. Now, I'd have to go back and pull up a game from 2009. I don't ever remember it being as sparse as that for a Big Ten game. And it's against a rival. It's against Minnesota. I mean, I think I would be surprised if there were more than 2,500 people in attendance. The announced attendance was just over 8,000. That's the paid attendance. But by looking at the pictures that a lot of fans sent in from after the game tipped off, I mean, you can easily count the number of fans in each section. Like if somebody wants to give it a try, they probably could add yourself up to maybe 2,400. This is a Big Ten game against Minnesota. This isn't
It's not like a bad Rutgers team.
Yeah, there were smaller crowds against, like, if NJIT would come in on a Tuesday night in the non-con, there might have been smaller crowds than this during the Licklider era. I've never seen this for a Big Ten game. I'm not sure I've seen anything close to this. And I'm not blaming fans. Like,
oh, no. Especially with the weather on top of it.
Yeah, but you look over in Ames, the weather is the exact same.
Well, I know, but you have the third-ranked team in the country.
I understand that, but you're a 17-point favorite against a team that's not very good in UCF.
Sold out.
What I noticed was a game like that where you're a 7.5-point favorite against the last place team in the conference. You're coming off the awful showing in LA. You think you're going to come home and bounce back, and this is going to be like you get back on the right foot, you win by double digits. Iowa was losing by double digits for most of this game. And what I noticed was there were no boos. There was no booing the team or the coaching staff. We've reached the point, and we reached this point a while ago, where apathy has overcome the anger, I guess. And I think that the fans who would boo, they've totally given up on even going to the games. So all you're left with now is just these fans that want to try to appreciate the men's basketball team, and they're just sitting there and they're apathetic too. But in a game like this, if there's 10,000 people there, I think you would hear a lot of boos from a performance like this. But since there was only 2,000, nothing. I mean, Fran has lost the fans. I think that this game might be kind of the writing on the wall game. A game where I don't know how, if you're Beth Getz and you've already had all these issues with the men's basketball program not getting fans and the issues with fans not really supporting the basketball program financially, you're losing games on the road by 30 points because you can't play defense, and now you come home and you lose to the last place team in the conference. With that kind of effort, with that sparsely attended crowd, I don't know how you don't just immediately go back to your office and start making plans. Start trying to put something together. At least see what can be done. Because I don't think you can go into next season like this. Assuming Iowa doesn't totally turn this thing around and make a run to the Sweet 16.
Boy, that's a bad loss.
Seems impossible.
I mean, that's a terrible loss.
I don't see how right
resume.
now, Williams, put all that aside right now, for the future of this program, I don't see how you can't start making plans to make a move if you're Beth Getz.
Let me give it to you from the other side, and this is we're rival teams, right? Iowa and Iowa State. You compete for a lot of resources. You oftentimes compete for recruits, all that stuff. From an Iowa State standpoint, and this should tell you all you want to know. I actually texted this to our friend Jason last night. We were both at the Iowa State game, and he texted me that picture.
Can I guess what the conversation was about? Because I don't know.
You can guess, but I'll tell you what my response was. Go for. You want to?
I'm just going to guess that Iowa State fans might be shaking in their boots a little bit because the worst thing that could happen is that Iowa finally moves on Fran McCaffrey and goes in a different direction.
Bingo. Jason
like
just sent me.
That's all you need to know.
Jason sent me a picture of the stands, and my response was, honestly, Iowa State needs them to win some games. They need to win just enough because keeping Fran is good for Iowa State. Because you really don't have competition in any of those areas right now. You don't. Mm-hmm. They don't recruit the same players. They don't. You're like, I mean, like sponsorships and stuff. Yeah, okay, but like nobody's jumping to spend a lot of money with Iowa basketball.
And it's not going to happen unless they make a move to rejuvenate that fan base. And
I'm not trying to pile on today, but this is a real conversation with diehard Iowa State people. And I actually said to him, I go, because Iowa shouldn't be. When I look at Iowa basketball, it's not like we discussed this on Sunday. Like they've gone to tournaments. It's not, but it's bland. And there's just nothing that puts fear in you at all when it comes to direct competition, the way the two programs, and they don't right now. It's kind of like you got the whole thing to yourself, and Fran's taken a lot of these kids that are from Iowa over the past, but it's generally not ones that, not every circumstance. There were some nice players, but if Iowa would have made a big move last year and gone off and gotten DeVries, everybody was saying they should,
totally different, right?
Yeah,
now.
Do you think I'd be saying this? I'd be like, shit.
Yeah. Look at the side by side last night. Let's just lay it out, because rarely do you get this where both teams are at home in conference play on the same night, practically the same time. Iowa tipped off an hour later, but I don't think that's that big a deal. But over in Ames, you have the number 3 team in the country with a sold-out arena of what, 15,000? What does Hilton hold?
About 14.5, yeah,
Okay.
14.6, something like that. So close to it.
Weather's the exact same. It's sold out, number 3 team in the country. You just run roughshod all over UCF. Fans have a great time. They're going crazy. They're celebrating. They stay all the way through to witness everything and cheer the Heisey 3 and all that stuff. Over in Iowa City, you have a team that had just got their ass kicked on the road in LA and just doesn't really show any fight on defense and on the boards. They're a 7.5-point favorite at home against rival Minnesota. And you get, I'm telling you, 2,000 to 3,000 people were at that game. And not only that, but then the performance on top of that, where you let Minnesota dictate everything. And Minnesota, from start to the final 3 minutes of that game, dictated the pace of play. They were bullying Iowa inside. Iowa made their patented late run, but they were too far down, couldn't come back to win it. And you just had fans sitting there on their hands, knitting, probably, some of them, and then walking back out to their cars. And now you've got a Friday game at home against Penn State, and God knows what that crowd's going to look like.
Fridays are a hard draw. They're a hard draw with Michigan coming to town, let alone with Penn State.
But just compare that. Like, if you're Beth Getz and you're looking at this from an administration standpoint and how we need to get excitement going, we need to raise money, and that's the side-by-side between two basketball programs that over the course of time have been very similar in success. Now, Iowa State has clearly pulled way ahead over the last
really since
years.
Hoiberg and Fran got hired, really.
Yeah.
I mean, because they got hired the same offseason, I want to say.
You look historically, and the two programs are very similar. But now, it's not even close. It's Iowa State has lapped Iowa, and Iowa is now a laughing stock among its own fan base. I mean, you have real long-time hardcore fans that not only will they not go, they can't even watch. They're so pissed off and apathetic to this thing. So I would be surprised if Beth Getz isn't at least starting to make some plans. Like, let's see, okay, what is this buyout? What would it cost? What can we raise? Who are our people that we could potentially reach out to?
Do you think Fran McCaffrey has it within him to walk away? Like, even if it's amicable and they like split the buyout.
I don't know. Now, so the only reason why I'm not just going to say no is because you've seen the drop off in his emotion, his attitude. Stands there with his hands in his pockets. 5 years ago, they lose a game like this. I mean, he's going crazy at his team, at the officials, right or wrong.
Well, even, was it last year or 2 years ago where he stared down that ref?
Yeah, a couple years ago, I think.
Was that 2 years ago? Okay.
And I also know that the McCaffreys don't really love Iowa City. They never have. They've always been looking to get out. I mean, look at the kids now. Look what's happened with them. They couldn't get out of there fast enough. And the young one's not even coming. So, but at the same time, that there's a lot of money owed to Fran here. Is he really just going to walk away from that? And I think there's part of him that's like, fuck, I'm not going to bail you out.
Yeah,
I'm not going to let you off the hook.
I don't know Fran that well, but I know most coaches who I've worked with in the past, they generally think that they are not appreciated enough. Mm-hmm. I really, I don't know.
He feels that way. I guarantee this entire team feels that way, specifically because they're not getting the NIL money and no one's showing up to the games.
Yeah, and I don't know if I've ever met a coach that was like, yeah, you know what, they support me really well around here. I think every coach I've ever talked to, they need more, right? We need more. Kind of like they're like fans. Oh, great, you went to a Sweet 16, get to an Elite 8. You know, like, and there's got to be a part of Fran. It's like this that will still go back to that dumpster fire that he took over 15 years ago, and he'll go, yeah, I'm going to tournaments, and we've
that's been part of the problem with why he's gotten these extensions.
We've given you a player of the year, and we've given you draft picks, and you guys don't appreciate me.
That was 15 years ago.
Oh, I know, but I'm saying, like, you know how coaches are.
I know. But my God, that's almost a generation ago now that we're talking about. He was I'm not going to say the perfect coach, but he was close to the perfect coach to get them out of that complete nosedive in the Licklider era, because he was totally opposite. You start all of a sudden you're playing offense, an exciting brand of basketball. You've got a fiery coach who's going to let the officials and the team have it. It was the opposite of Licklider, and he took them out of that, and that was really exciting for 3 or 4 years. And then there was a little lull, and then kind of the second part where you get the Garzas and the Murray twins, and he had his best teams, but still couldn't get it done. And now we are on the back end where it has fallen off a cliff.
In hindsight, when we look back, was that Oregon game kind of when this all started?
Yeah. I think that was that was when
the apathy.
I think it was like, okay,
if we can't do it with this group,
it's never going to happen.
And we just got run out of the gym.
And it wasn't like they lost on a last-second shot. I mean, Oregon just took their elephant trunk and just slapped Garza and everybody right in the face.
Yeah, I mean, it's arguably your best player in program history. I mean, you could argue that. Mm-hmm. And he had a surrounding cast, and it's complicated. Most of these things usually are. But last night, I don't know about you. I thought that they beat Minnesota by double digits.
I did too.
And then we would have to be like, maybe they're turning it around. And, you know, we've done this so many times. And I just wonder, it's like, is this it? Like, are they, I don't like to use the word quit, because I don't believe Peyton Sanford and those guys have literally quit. Like, that's not fair. But you do look around, and it's just like, it's hard to find a way where this ends well. And even if, like you've said, and this is kind of what, these are extremes. The Steve Prohm situation was an extreme. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I don't want to make it. Fran has clearly been a much better. Well, maybe not. Steve Prohm went to a Sweet 16. You could make the argument, whatever. But at that point, when they were like 0-12, and I caught a lot of heat from this at the time, and that's a story that'll be told for another day. But my analysis on it was, when this whole thing, college athletics, guys, is all about hope and sales. Okay? This is why when these coaches come in at the beginning, they're so happy, and they're doing all the media interviews, and they're optimistic, because all they have to sell is hope. They sell hope to you. They sell hope to recruits. They sell hope to the boosters and the media. Well, once the hope is gone, you either have to produce to a level, or you're on to the next thing. The problem when Iowa State had to fire Steve Prohm is it didn't matter. They could have won 6 in a row at the end of the year. Nobody was buying season tickets the next year because they had lost complete hope in the guy. And
that's how Iowa fans feel right now.
Right. And it's like, well, best case scenario, we're going to be a bubble team and then get knocked out in the first weekend of the NCAA tournament. They no longer have hope that they are a part of something bigger that can go on and do something special. Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the question becomes, like, with the timing of all this and the revenue sharing thing that should be coming, and how important NIL is, does that make it a worse time for Iowa to make a change, or does that almost accelerate the fact that you need to make a change? Because I feel like it might be the latter.
I don't know.
I feel like it might be like, if you don't make a change now, when this whole thing's changing, and start to get a jump with money coming back into that men's basketball program, you might fall too far behind.
Let me ask you this, like, sincerely, and because when we were kids, when the logo that's on your shirt was prevalent, when our guy Jess Settles was playing, Jess Settles is still one of my favorite humans and athletes to ever come out of this state. Iowa basketball really mattered. Like the Raycom thing, like there's been journalism done on that, like how the TV ratings for those Iowa men's basketball games back in the like mid 90s, it was like the highest rated television in the entire state because the whole state got these Raycom, like it was crazy. And then it felt like, Chris, and I want you and our Iowa fans to help educate me on this, but it felt like when my friend, I'm at Iowa State, and you guys are all over on the eastern side of the state, and Iowa got really good in football. And now you're playing in Orange Bowls and competing for Big Ten championships. And all my friends were like, yeah, we just stopped caring about basketball for one reason or another. This is my question on making the move now. Do you believe Iowa will put that much into basketball going forward regardless of what happens? Like, is this a football school now? Like, I don't know. I don't have the answer to this. But do you think, like, if DeVries is the
clearly means more to every school.
And it's going to be that way even more going forward.
Well, I think what they need is maybe it's less about what the school is going to put into it and more about what the fans need to put into it.
And will they, is what I'm asking.
They won't if it's not if it's Fran.
Do you think if like something crazy, like,
but if they went out and they got Darren DeVries and he comes in and he starts generating excitement like he's doing at West Virginia right now, everything changes. Absolutely, everything changes. I'm not saying it's going to go back to the days when they were packing the house every game with AC Earl and Chris Street and those guys. But look, I know this is a long time ago, but Iowa football was really good in the 80s, and so was basketball. Like in the 80s, the football program and the basketball program were both great. Mm-hmm. It can be done at the same time. It's a new era. I get it. That's a long time ago. But it's not like only one of these programs can be anything.
No, I know.
And you still have to try. Just because football is a lot more important now, it doesn't mean it wouldn't behoove you to get some money together to get this buyout and get this thing started over again.
Never understood why Iowa isn't like a pipeline through Chicago, getting Illinois leftovers, and then there's so much opportunity. The
football program does a great job in Chicago.
Yeah,
they get a lot of guys out of there.
I've never understood why you don't just hire like this Chicago recruiting maniac and just go. There's so much talent there.
Now Brian asks a good question. At this point, now that DeVries is at West Virginia, would he really leave for Iowa? And I don't know that he would. I mean, I think he's got a pretty good situation there in West Virginia that he's already turned around, and with a rabid fan base that's already engaged.
Can Tucker transfer again?
Boy, I don't know. That's a good question because now you're dealing with medical red shirts again.
Yeah, I don't know
if he doesn't come back this season at all.
I think he can, but I
don't know.
But that could play because he's not going to want to leave his kid in West Virginia. It's a loaded conversation, and we're going to be having it a lot in the next coming weeks.
I think last night was just kind of the moment, and I've
certainly felt like it.
I've heard from people that have defended Fran and this program a lot more than I have over the years that are out, like Andrew Downs.
Downs is the one. Example. He's my litmus test.
Yeah.
Because that guy, even when all of us have been out on Fran for a long time for a lot of different reasons, I mean, he would just stay pat, like, oh, he's a good guy. He's, like, whatever. I don't care if he's a good guy or not. We're talking about basketball here. But Downs would always be and I feel like he's even gone.
And if you've lost Andrew Downs, you've lost the plot. You've lost
The other thing
the Iowa fan base.
with DeVries is they have a lot of money down there at West Virginia, and the fans down there love him.
Yeah.
And if Iowa would come, like, they're going to open up a bag too. Like, this would be a bidding war for a guy like that. I don't know if Iowa's willing to spend that much on basketball is my point.
You might have missed the boat on DeVries.
For now, at least, until, like, Tucker's gone and down the road, maybe Darren wants to come back and maybe that's the job. But I also think he would be next in line to get Creighton if he wanted it.
Which is a 10
considerably
times
better
job than Iowa right now.
Creighton's a top 10 job in the country right now because of the private school thing, and they don't have football. Like, there's a lot about Creighton that makes it. And you have, like, this NBA arena. You have all these rich young professionals
you're getting 18,000 fans a night.
People have no idea. Unless you've been over there, you don't realize how good of a deal Creighton is, especially in the NIL era where you don't have to pay a football team. Mm-hmm. All right, let's thank some sponsors, and we'll get to Iowa State, UCF.
Yeah, we better get to them soon because I'm seeing a lot of Iowa State fans. We got the number 3 team in the country, and all you're doing is talking Iowa. Come on. After last night, the Iowa game was the bigger hot-button story because I think it's the beginning of the end. You guys were 17-point favorites. You did what you were supposed to do. We'll get to you in a second. Sit tight. We've been leading with Iowa State like every show all winter.
Hey, at least they're not apathetic, right?
That they are not.
Appreciate all of our great sponsors. I wanted to Iowa Event Center made a couple of announcements yesterday. They got the Jason Aldean.
Try that in a small town. Will come and blow your head right off.
The Full Throttle Tour is coming to town on Friday, September the 19th. That thing will sell out. That thing, Aldean attaching himself to Trump the way that he did only made him bigger in like rural Iowa. That will be sold out.
He attached himself to Trump?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's like his guy. Like he played at the inauguration.
Did he really?
Him and Trump are like buddies. They golf together. Yeah, like I'm dead serious. Like it's like a real. Like, I'm pretty sure Melania and his wife are like friends now. They're always together.
Oh, okay. Wow, I didn't know that.
And then I like this one. Rock. Shine Down. Do you know who they are?
Yeah. What's the big song that they had?
Aiden, give us some Shine Down. I don't know. I just know that they're
Shine Down artist.
They're just hard rock.
They have a song called Second Chance.
I guarantee
Simple
Kelderman.
Man.
I guarantee Kelderman's going to be at this show. So, I'm going to Arizona. Kelderman's on my flight to Arizona tomorrow.
Oh, I bet he's first class.
I don't
There's no
know.
way Kelderman is sitting behind you.
Well, me and Kelderman are meeting at the bar before the flight. Going to have ourselves a few cocktails. He's going down to the Barrett Jackson car show.
Wow. Now, is he ever going to douche up your truck? You've been talking about this for 2 years.
I might be upgrading my truck. I need a bigger one.
No, you do a bigger one. Your truck's already the biggest truck I've ever been in my life.
Well, I need one with more towing capacity. So I might, because I'm hauling that camper around to all these races in the summer, and I need more juice. So I might wait and have him douche that one up.
Okay. Well, as long as it happens eventually, because I'm tired of this.
My goal is to put as many emissions into the air as possible. And then drive it to a Jason Aldean concert. Also, would like to, speaking of douched up trucks, Freedom Tire doesn't care if you drive a Tesla or a douched up truck like me. They're going to take care of it. They're going to find you tires. It is colder than 12 witches going lingerie shopping for brass bras out there right now. And I guarantee we got cars stalling all over the damn place right now. Go to Freedom Tire. Quit jacking around. Just get the Freedom Tire. They're going to take great care of you. Well, and you can warm up at the Royal Mile and our friends from Full Court Press. Next time you come to town, can we go and sit at the Royal Mile like we used to?
I would love that.
That would be really nice.
It's been a long time since I've had a nice.
That would be really. And they have the like
draft
fireplaces.
Belgian beer.
Oh, I love the Royal Mile. My favorite. I do think it's my favorite downtown bar.
Downtown.
Things will be great when you're downtown. Iowa State. I can confidently say
God,
this.
you were so wrong.
I don't think I've ever had a worse read on an Iowa State game in my
You're
life.
like, let me tell you this. That line opened up at 17. Take it now. Because there's no way.
Well, I was right. It
Iowa
closed
State,
at like 14 and a half. So
there's no way that they win this game by double digits. And you know what else you should do? Take the under. Because this is going to be just a beat down, physical game. UCF's going to be walking it up the court, chewing that clock like West Virginia did. No, I turned on the game last night, and it's like zoom, back and Iowa State scores, and then UCF tries to score in 5 seconds. What was that game plan for UCF? What were they doing?
I completely won. I didn't anticipate Joshua Jefferson and Demarion Watson going out and hitting threes and all that. So good on them to go out and spread that defense out and make those shots. That's huge. Joshua Jefferson, one of the all-time great games in Hilton Coliseum last night. He almost had a triple-double, 30 points. And he did it quietly. 9 of the points came in the free throw line. This kid is putting together a hell of a season.
Yeah, he is.
That's the quietest 30-point game I've ever seen. But I don't know what Central Florida was doing last night. It was truly one of the worst defensive game plans I think I've ever seen.
They played like Iowa does on the road.
Oh, it was bad.
I felt like Iowa State scored on every possession.
They are one of the oddest teams in the country. If you go and look at Central Florida's resume and just what they do, because they really should have beaten Houston. Like, I watched every minute of that game. They deserved to win that game. Houston just out-Houston them at the end. But they win at Texas Tech. They get blown out by 50 by Kansas. Like, I was talking with our guy Grummer at halftime, your main man Grummer, about how impossible it is in college basketball to like just make game-by-game projections on these teams because they can be so different from one night to the other. And in Iowa State, like after it, when Demarion Watson, of all people, hit the three to take the lid off the bucket for the Cyclones, they had made one of their last 20 three-point shots, and then it completely ignited this team to just explode offensively the rest of the way. That was the worst read I've ever had on an Iowa State game. And I think I probably know this Iowa State team as well as any I've ever covered. I've been around them a lot. I know the ins and outs. I thought this was going to be a root canal, win in the low 70s. Absolutely not. And then you had this kid for Central Florida who goes 6 of 9 from 3. Like, it was just freaking crazy. But nonetheless, Iowa State completely established its dominance in the first 12 minutes of this game and never looked back.
Yeah, I mean, Iowa State did what they should do to UCF, regardless of whether or not they should have beaten Houston at home. Iowa State is vastly superior, and they showed it. And they kind of licked their wounds a little bit coming out of the loss to West Virginia because it's all about how you respond, right? I mean, you're going to lose games. It's about how you bounce back, and that's not an easy spot to do it, I don't think. Like, it's a lot easier if it's Houston that's coming in to Hilton. When it's a team you've only played once before that's, not a tournament team right now, I wouldn't think. To be favored by, anywhere from 14 to 17, whatever. And I was impressed with the crowd as well. Like, the crowd really, they got going. Iowa State played the way this crowd loves them to play, where Taman Lipsy he's just like a little yippy dog, just everywhere. Oh. Get that, boom, boom, boom. Just all over the place. And UCF played right into their hands.
I still don't know what they were trying to do on defense. I really don't understand it. But it didn't work. And, again, it just shows you, though, so you had a couple of bigs go out and make threes early for Iowa State, and it completely opened everything up. Mm-hmm. And that's what they were lacking at West Virginia. Not only could your guards not make it three, but you were lacking that stretch for anybody from the wing to go out and hit a shot. And, man, it's Jefferson. Aiden, will you pull up Jefferson's season stats? I haven't even looked at them. I would love to know his averages for points, rebounds, and assists.
He averages 13 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 assists a game.
Okay, so the 3 assists is actually lower than I thought, but he's constantly putting in these 7-8 assist games now. We talked so much about
passer.
Jones, Lipsy, and Gilbert. Like, this guy is putting together an all Big 12 type of caliber of season. Definitely a newcomer of the year in the Big 12 type of season, I would think. So when he's at that level, Iowa State's at a different level. The metrics loved the game last night. Iowa State they only dropped from number 2 to number 3 with their loss. We kind of thought that would be the case.
You're talking about in the AP poll?
Yeah, in the AP poll. They're still number 4 in all the metrics. So good win for Iowa State, and they needed that to go into this Arizona swing. Heisey made it 3. Your man.
It was so funny. He did not want to take the 3 because he had missed a couple, and he had that possession where he's got the ball, he's got an open shot, but he's 0 for a million in Big 12 play, and so he passes it up, and then you hear, I think it was Jess Settles say, like, Heisey's got you have to shoot that shot, you have to shoot it. Sure enough, he gets the ball back on that very possession, and he's even more wide open, and he knocks it down, and the place goes nuts. That's what you really needed to see in that game, was that he's got to get some confidence back.
That was my favorite part of the whole game, Chris, was the fact that Curtis Jones was great. He had 19. You know what my favorite part of the whole thing was? The guys they needed to come around, minus Momcilovic, were Gilbert and Heisey. Those were the 2 guys who I had circled. It's like, you got to get more offense. Gilbert has to make it 3 again because he hadn't in a long time. And he had one of his best games of the season. Keyshawn did. He was really active early. And, God, he's good around the rim. He went from being like a year and a half ago was bad around the rim. Like, he went up there and he just felt like he was just trying to get fouled. That he is one of the best finishers that I've ever seen in Iowa State basketball. And then it was Heisey, right? Like, you're just like, he can't be a 0. He doesn't even have to be a 5 out of 10. Like, he can't be a 0 offensively. And just mentally, we've seen this with him. He hit that 3 in Maui, and then all of a sudden he was like a good 3-point shooter for 3 weeks. They got to get him back to that point. And you got this Arizona swing coming up. Should win at Arizona State. I think that's going to be like 50-50 Iowa State fans in Tempe on Saturday.
I've heard you say that. Where are they all coming from? Are they people that live there?
Snowbirds. Yeah. So
you're going down, right?
I'm going down. Kelderman's going to be there. We have a group of 6.
And you're going to go to both games, correct?
Yeah, I'm gonna sit in the stands on Saturday, and then I'm gonna cover the game on Monday. Is my plan.
Okay.
I'm going down with Murph. He's already down there. I believe he'll be doing Murph and Andy from. Tempe.
Yeah, he was riding first class. You see that son of a bitch sent us a picture yesterday.
Yeah, he's just taunting us in first class. I'm gonna be back in like the 40th row of my plane, just like looking down. So I'm gonna rent a car and drive from Tempe to Tucson.
How far is that drive?
Hour 45.
Okay.
But I think I'm going to stop and do a bunch of Indian landmarks on the way. I'm going to go see where Geronimo used to roam. I'm going to really sit there and close my like where he used to walk.
So you just see the land where he walked? That's it?
Yeah.
What does that land look like? Just a desert?
Well, yeah, it's desolate. It's I'm thinking about this. I'm thinking about staying in a teepee on Sunday night.
And how do you do that? Like, they just have
Airbnb.
teepees set up?
Mm-hmm.
What? An Airbnb?
Yeah, they got Wi-Fi.
What?
I might do the show from a teepee on Monday morning.
So part of me wonders if that's, I don't know the word for it, but like a fake teepee that some person sets up with Wi-Fi.
It's like a
big
douche
screen
teepee.
TV. And yeah, it's not like that. Are we really honoring the Native Americans with this?
I don't think I'm trying to honor anyone. I think I just want the experience of if a wolf comes up to me in the middle of the night, I got my gun. I just want the outdoor experience. Like
you're going to have a gun?
I think that these teepees come with guns.
Shut up. What are you talking about?
Just in case the wolves or bears come up to you.
Are you serious that you're going to do this?
I'm thinking about it. I have not booked my hotel.
Yeah, you've looked into this? That this is a possibility.
There's a lot of them out there. Yeah, a lot of people do
You're
this.
driving down the road and it just says Airbnb TP. All gas, no breakfast says Air T and P.
You have to shit outdoors because there's no plumbing in these things. They have like porta potties outside.
This sounds terrible. And I think you might get in trouble. Like, you might get canceled for doing something like this.
You think so?
Aiden's pulled up this.
See, mine would be much nicer than this. But this is similar to it. Yep.
What in the
There's the shower.
So, aren't you scared of, like, rattlesnakes getting in there?
No. That's not going to happen.
Wow, that's a big teepee.
Yeah.
That's almost like a circus.
It's only like $100.
Why does that say Mason City, Iowa on there? Can you stay in an Air T&P in Mason City?
Is that in Mason City?
What is going on? What are we looking at here, Aiden?
I don't know. Aiden's StreamYard's about to get a virus.
I can't believe that had Mason City. That one's in Arizona.
Nice.
That was just totally random.
I'm so befuddled by Williams's. I mean, I know you're obsessed with like history and that sort of thing.
Well, I love Geronimo. You know that. That's my guy.
What's Geronimo's deal? What was his big thing?
Well, he was the last like great Apache warrior of the West. So like the white man started, the settlers just really got over where the Apache couldn't handle him anymore. Couldn't, the armies over there and stuff. And Geronimo was just a thorn in their side, man. This son of a bitch, it didn't matter what the United States government did. Geronimo and his pack, they would just be throughout the hills, and then they'd jump in the middle of the night and raid him, and then they'd get back, and they couldn't catch him. Like, the United States government could not catch this guy.
Is there like a dog barking in the background? What is that? What's that noise?
I think my wife's doing something upstairs. It's not a dog.
You better go check on her. I'm a little worried. What the hell?
Everybody's got to read the Mike Leach book about Geronimo. It's the most incredible thing because it's like a biography of Geronimo, and like he worked with this history professor at Washington State on it, and I'm quite certain that the history professor wrote like the biography part, and then like I'm not kidding. Every page, there's like a coach's take, and Leach just analyzes. Have you ever read one of those Bibles where it's like, well, what does that mean? And then there's like somebody translating it. Leach will just be like, well, and this is why you got to run the football too in the air raid. We're not just throwing it all the time. Like it's hilarious, and it's very enlightening.
Iowa State will be a favorite of what? 7 points at Arizona State? And then closer to a pick 'em at Arizona?
Let me help you out here. I'm guessing that Iowa State will be, yeah, you're right. Ken Palm has it at 8, so you're spot on there. The Iowa State is favored by 1 on Ken Palm. So, yeah, very good job, Chris. You nailed it. I would guess that Arizona would be Iowa State, 2 games on the road like that. The comments are just out of control today.
Yeah, All Gas No Breakfast is on one today. He says that's the spirit of Geronimo barking at CW.
No, I figured out what it is.
What is it?
We have a bearing that's out on our washer.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we lost a bearing on our washer and it hasn't been fixed yet. And so when somebody's washing the clothes, it's really annoying.
It is, yes.
I'm really sorry that my microphone is picking that up.
This is worse than the my pool workers a couple of years ago.
Oh my God. All of a sudden, Hassel's like walls are like vibrating.
Are we doing overtime today?
Yeah, but let's thank Game Day Men's Health first, because I have a box of Game Day Men's Health merchandise that I'm taking down to Colin Murphy
Oh, yeah, because he's their new
for the big
sponsor.
fight. Yeah, for the big fight coming up in March. And Colin, so I was texting with him and his dad yesterday, like, what size of Game Day Men's Health merch do you need? And he's like, probably an extra large. And Keith was like, no. You need to show off your guns.
Why?
You're getting a large.
Keith's infatuation with his own son's body is getting to a very disturbing crescendo here.
He has a great body, this kid.
But should a dad really be that into his son's body?
I think Keith is just looking like, hey, what could have been?
If he would have put in the work himself?
Yeah. Like, I that kid has my genes.
I think that Keith sees himself in Colin. And so he thinks that that's like a reflection on him as a person. Like, that's the mirror. Like, that was me. And I didn't flaunt enough when I was 20 years old.
I think Keith was likely a really good-looking guy. Don't you?
What, you're saying he's not anymore?
No, I'm just saying, like, I could see Keith in college being quite the stallion.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. I mean, he was a quarterback with a mustache and a neck roll at Valdosta State. I can't stop laughing at this noise.
Yeah, try living here. Let's thank our... Somebody wrote...
This is why you
Matt...
think that ghosts exist.
Actually, a funny story about that. So I'm debating where to stay in Tucson, and there's a museum downtown that has a Geronimo exhibit that I want to go see. And the first thing on TripAdvisor in the reviews for it is that this woman believes something paranormal happened to her when she was investigating Geronimo.
Oh, jeez. I'm sure.
Yeah. Let's thank our friends from Wild Rose Casinos. It's time for overtime. Here on Iowa Everywhere.
Pardon our progress, but we've been busy building a better Wild Rose for you.
Wild Rose Casino. I have talking points I'm supposed to read for them. Give me a second.
They're building a better Wild Rose?
Yes. Oh, okay, I got it. We got a coming up on the 24th. So that is this Friday. If you don't have anything to do and you're in eastern Iowa, this Friday, the Knock Knock Who's There comedy show. Great comedy show in Clinton. Knock Knock Who's There? That's coming to Wild Rose Casino in Clinton on Friday. Friday the 14th up in Jefferson, John Caparulo. Caparulo. Yes, he's another comedian. That is coming to Jefferson on the 14th, and he will be in Emmitsburg on the 15th. You can get all of your tickets available. WildRoseResorts.com. What are you laughing at?
That goddamn washing machine.
I'll tell my wife
It's moaning.
to never do laundry.
God.
I know. I really need to get that fixed. Okay? I really need to get it
might have
fixed.
stopped. I think it might have stopped.
Give it about 2 minutes, and it's in a different cycle.
Oh, great. Great. Hey, you know what I did last night?
What did you do last night?
I went to TGL.
Oh,
that is?
that's the golf thing.
Yes. So It's new. It just started a couple of weeks ago. TGL is this indoor golf deal with PGA Tour players. Tiger Woods played in it last week. Rory McIlroy's in it. I shook hands with Justin Thomas.
Oh,
yesterday.
Have you washed your hands yet?
I have, and it's funny you mentioned that. So Matt Berry hosts it at ESPN. He and his wife were nice enough to invite us to a suite at the SoFi Center, which is only about 30 minutes north of where we live. And last week, she was there. Her name's Ashley. That's Matt's wife. And the players come out of the locker room and they line all these kids up and they give high fives. Like, it's a really cool experience because there's only like 1,500 people inside this stadium to watch this, and it's interactive with the players. Well, she gave every one of the players a high five, and then 3 or 4 days later, she got sick. And so I said,
"Oh no,
please, I'll do whatever you want, but I don't want to give the players high fives because I think that's how you got sick last week."
So you think that
So I
one of
stayed
them
back.
gave her, or did she get it from somewhere else and then get one of the players sick?
No, I think one of the players got her sick because she was giving high fives. I mean, it's just, you give high fives to 6, 7 different people. That's a lot of germs on your hand, and then you're eating. There's food in this booth. So I was making sure we brought the hand sanitizer, and we were kind of loading up on that. But it's a really cool experience. Like, it was awesome. Got to see how they bring real grass in there for the players to hit off of.
Is
And
this
they
going to
practice
last
on this grass? That's the big question. Right now, it's going great. The viewership was really good the first 2 weeks, but you had week 1 was everybody tunes in, they want to see what it is. Week 2 was Tiger Woods in his first appearance. It's going to be interesting to see. What they haven't had yet is a good close match all the way through. Like last night, this thing was kind of over 12, 13 holes in, but it's really fast paced. They've got the players mic'd up. It's laid back. It's really cool how they do it, and the way that, if you're there, you see the green that they use and how they put this whole thing together. I hope it does. And I think if you went to an event, you would love it.
Yeah.
And you would want to go back. It's the thing only lasts like an hour and a half. It's quicker than a college basketball game.
Yeah.
And it's first class amenities.
Where was this at? Was it in
really
Miami?
neat. No, it's up in is it Palm Beach Gardens? It's north of West Palm, so it's like 30 minutes north of me. I live in Delray Beach. It's up on where the PGA Tour used to be located in I think it's called Palm Beach Gardens, but they built this arena specifically for this, and they brought in this real grass, real sand, a real cool environment. And Matt brought us onto the playing surface beforehand to kind of show us around and mingle with the players a little bit. Ricky Fowler was there too. But there was this guy that was working for TGL, and he said, he looked at me and he goes, "Hey, go Hawks."
Oh, wow.
And I didn't know if I knew him or not. But I said, hey, how are you? Good to see you. And he said, "Yeah, good to see you again."
Oh no, one of these deals.
Yeah, but I couldn't put his face to a name, and I don't, everything's kind of out of context because I've never been in this building before. This thing is brand new. I don't know where is he golf in the past? Did he work at the John Deere Classic? Did he? So I never got his name. I feel bad about it, but yeah.
Maybe he's just a big listener of the show.
Big Two Guys fan. Big TGL guy. I hope it lasts. It was a lot of fun to be there.
I'm glad they're doing it. I do feel like golf's about 10 years too late on something like this, but it definitely is forward thinking. So I appreciate it.
And it's at
far
a
as that
time where
goes.
you're not like there's not. If you're a real golf fan, there's not big tournaments on TV.
Yeah, no, and I was explaining this to some advertisers yesterday. Like for us, like at Cyclone Fanatic, I've been doing this 20 years. There's nothing that moves the needle like Iowa State basketball. And it's not that people don't care about football. They care just as much, but they have all this stuff going on. Like they're tailgating, this time of year, people are just want something to
especially
pay attention
there in
to.
Iowa.
Right?
You're not outside. There's nothing you're going to be doing outside.
An Iowa State road game in basketball for us in the Big 12 is one of the highest traffic days we'll always have, and it's because they just want content. They just, so like this type of stuff, especially once the NFL's over, it's got a shot.
Sure.
It's all about the personalities with golf, though. Like they got it. It reminds me of racing so much, and I know our audience doesn't care, but like it's like Indy car racing has like a great product, but nobody knows who the racers are. Nobody cares about them, and like with golf, like you have to like build these stars up.
Well, and there were stars there watching the event. We were in the suite right next to. You're gonna love this. Ja Rule.
No way.
Ja Rule was right next to us with J.R. Smith, former NBA player.
It's murder.
Ja Rule was like the nicest guy. We were probably the only people in that entire arena that didn't ask to get a picture taken with Ja Rule.
He ripped all those people off.
The Fire Fest?
Yeah, he's a con artist. Why do they want a picture with a con artist?
A lot of people were excited. It was funny because all of the people that were anywhere from 35 to 55 were just starstruck going over there.
So baby girl, put it on me. Yeah.
Baby girl, put it on me.
But like the kids, the 15-year-olds are like, who is that, mommy? Well, the 15-year-old probably doesn't sound that young, but they had to be explained who Ja Rule.
Oh.
He looks the exact same.
I got a story about a bunch of 15-year-olds for you.
Oh.
So
that didn't sound good, but
no, well, it's not good. Monday.
You want to hear a story about a 15-year-old? Take a seat.
Listen to this. So it's MLK Day, which means when you have kids, that means no school. So you got to find a way to deal with these kids, do something with them. And I took my girls, my wife is working, I took my girls to see Mufasa on Monday.
okay.
And I'm not kidding you, to start the movie, we were the only people in the entire theater. I sent you a picture.
Yeah.
Nobody else there.
It was a cute pic. Was it just you and the girls, or was your wife there too?
No, she was working. It was just me and the girls.
Why was there a seat vacated between your two daughters?
Well, that was where I was sitting. I was standing up when I took the picture.
Oh,
I was sitting in between them.
okay.
So we're the only people there. The coming attractions are playing. And then all of a sudden, these 6 teenagers come rolling in.
Okay.
All right, whatever. They're Lion King fans. Well, they're like two. They deliberately go to the back row, which whatever. And they're being really loud and obnoxious.
God.
In during the movie, and they're not even paying attention to it. Luckily, my girls they're not paying much attention to what they're doing. And I give them a couple of these.
Yeah.
Let them know,
Yeah.
old man is paying attention.
Full
Yep.
Costanza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to
know
go
what it's
outside?
like.
And I'll show you what it's like.
So, I notice about like 45 minutes into the movie, they're no longer being rowdy up there, which is great. And I also realized that they have now split up. So there were 6 kids in what what it was they were 3 couples.
Oh, boy.
I looked back there. It was like a Russ Myers film back there.
Who the hell is Russ Myers?
I don't know. It's a Seinfeld line.
Wait,
I think he's an old porn producer
Russ Myers. Oh yeah, American film director. He's got the mustache. Oh my God. Okay, I'm looking up some of the film names. Faster, Pussycat. Kill Kill is one of the names. The other one is Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. How about another one? 1959, The Immoral Mr. Tease. Okay.
It was like it was from the Schindler's List Seinfeld.
Okay.
It's like a Russ Myers film. These kids have now split up. So this is like a new age theater where you have like recliners, right?
Oh Jesus! And they hand out blankets. And,
oh yeah, and they're
sucking
face back there like crazy. One of the girls is like straddling the guy. Like it was like it wasn't X-rated.
What?
I'm not kidding. Luckily, my daughters had no clue that this is going on. But I think what these kids do now is they find the empty theaters because you can go on, to the Cinemark app, and you can see how many people are in there. And I think that they saw,
God,
there's hardly anybody in here. We're going to go to the back row where we can just. I think that's what was happening.
And then they just it's basically a lay flat bed in the dark.
Yeah, it reclines. You have a blankets.
Pillows.
You can do whatever you want. There's nobody checking on you. It's
just
pitch
uncovered.
dark.
Like this is a ring. You uncovered a ring. These kids, they think they figured it out, but they picked the wrong theater because now you're outing them. Well, anybody that has teenage kids,
yes. Watch out for this.
If they're looking to go to Mufasa or
we just want to go and see how the Lion King all got started.
Hey, I'm going to the movies with my friends tonight. You made out during Schindler's List?
They were going hard too. Like it was
God, they might have gone all the way.
They could have. I mean, I wasn't watching for that. Would you have gone and told the authorities? I just let them go at it. Like, I didn't. It's not my business. But, like, my kids had no clue what was happening, so I didn't really care.
If your kids could see what was going on.
Yeah, I would have done something.
Yeah. But if they didn't know.
So what they did is one couple went to that far end of the theater, the other couple was in the middle, and the other couple was in that far end of the theater. Hey, hold on. Diffie stole my Game Day Men's Health hat for Colin. Knock it off.
Oh, what a show today between the washing machine and
Jesus.
Diffie. Oh no, Diffie's got his mouth on one of the Game Day Health syringes.
Diffie's sucking the tea right out of that syringe. I'm not kidding though. It was quite the eye-opening experience. And I don't know, this was the most interesting part to me. So when we left, there was a girl who looked like their age. She was sitting in the front row under a blanket, sprawled out, dead asleep. She had no idea the movie was even over. So I think she may have been the seventh wheel.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And then they went and were waking her up.
How horrible would that be, to be the seventh wheel? When all of your friends are in back, potentially losing their virginity to Mufasa. And you're just there. I can't. This is why I don't have kids.
Well, I learned something. Like,
yeah.
And this is why I don't trust these boys, Like,
Jesus.
I want to take you to a Disney movie. In these theaters, though, like, I remember when we were kids, in the theater, it was like steel seats.
Yes. It wouldn't even recline.
If you wanted to make a move on a girl, like, it was hard. Like, you had to really work at it. It's like,
And that's to put your arm around or hold a hand.
Yeah. This guy is, I mean, they more action than I've gotten in a long time.
God. The lay down movie seats. Holy smokes. Parents, you're in trouble. You're in big trouble.
God, the comments. Oh. So yeah, that was my Martin Luther King Day. It was a good movie though. I liked Mufasa. It was me and the girls really liked it.
I heard it was kind of weird.
What do you mean weird?
Well, isn't it just like a total remake of The Lion King?
No, it's a prequel.
But with like weird AI animals that talk.
Oh yeah, animals talk. Yeah. I
don't know.
Let's give away some tickets to the Iowa Wild. Dylan Scott. A hell of a pull for Iowa Wild. We got Dylan Scott. We got Shinedown. And then we've got Al Dean's coming to town. Big week here at the Iowa Event Center. What do we got, Aiden?
Is it Aldine? Like Aldine? I always thought it was Aldine.
No, it's Al Dean.
I think it's Jason Aldean.
No, it's Al Dean.
Aldean. It's Jason. His middle name is Al. His last name is Dean. Jason Aldean.
Anyway, our winner of 2.
Oh, we're
lower
literally
level
giving
tickets.
them away.
Yes.
Yeah.
And on ice passes for the Dylan Scott concert, Rusty Strong. Rusty, I'll send you an email later today with all the details.
Send some beefarino with that as well.
Rusty.
Maybe you could stop off at the old Altoona Cinemark on your way.
It was like a Russ Myers film. I can't believe I didn't get that first.
I'm hoping that Fails catches that.
Oh, he'll definitely get that. So Russ Meyer, primarily known for writing and directing a series of successful sexploitation films featuring campy humor, sly satire, and large-breasted women.
Oh, no. I know what the reference is from. It's not the Schindler's List episode. It's when the Drake's hiring all those dental assistants.
Oh, and they're
Jerry's, he's like, it's like a Russ Myers film in there.
Yeah, they put him under the laughing gas, put him to sleep, and he wakes up and they're buttoning up.
Yeah, and he doesn't know where the toothbrush had been, and yeah. I'm not kidding you though, man. It was a wild experience.
I bet. That's crazy. That.
All right, well, hit on a couple.
As a society.
Yeah, Chris. Yes, the movie was very good. My 9-year-old loved it. 5-year-old fell asleep. I should have just thrown her down by that teenage girl that was taking a nap. But no, we really enjoyed it. Okay, we'll touch on the NFL playoffs. I wanted to hit on Ryan Day real quick. I've come to the conclusion with Ryan Day that even when he wins, he can't win. Like, I think this people just don't like him. He's just not a likable.
He's not. He's really not a likable guy. And I maybe he's a good guy. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
He doesn't come across as likable, as relatable.
Well, did you see this golf cart situation?
Yes. Which is funny because
Ryan Day, you deserve it, brother. Thank you.
Urban Meyer had the look out.
Oh.
Urban Meyer had the golf cart picture where he's eating that pizza in defeat. And Ryan Day's on this golf cart in these narrow hallways, and this girl runs it directly into a wall. And like all the players are kind of laughing about it, but Ryan Day is like totally serious.
I'm out on him after this.
You fucking deserve it.
Ryan, I'm so happy for you. You deserve this. All right, good. Thank you. Totally serious.
That
he just
same
won
guy,
the national championship.
That same guy was tweeting to fire him a month ago.
Definitely.
Just like it really hit me when I watched because there was no because I truly felt sorry for the gal that was driving it, because this is her big moment, right? Mm-hmm. This is your chance, and you get to drive the championship coach and the MVP, and you just completely blow it. You just drive right into the wall. It gets stuck. And Ryan Day just sits there like a stone-faced jerk. Doesn't console her, doesn't try and help. He's honestly just kind of looks at her like, you fucking idiot.
And it sits there as the security guard starts to try to like unwedge the tire from the wall, and he's still just sitting there. He's like the one guy that's still sitting there in the cart as everybody else has gotten off of it to make it lighter, or just walk to the press conference so you don't have to sit there and wait. He's just there as the guy's rocking the tire. He's got a scowl on his face. He just won the title.
Yeah, you would think like if he's ever going to be in a good mood.
Yes.
This is it. Like, this is the time where Ryan can maybe make a joke and like put his arm around the girl and be like, hey, it's okay.
All right. I dealt with some adversity this season too, but we got over it.
Yeah. Instead, this poor girl, gal, woman, I don't know how old she is. I'm guessing she's not that old by the looks of it. I don't know. It just, and then like, I don't know. Like it just hit me. It's like, it doesn't matter what he does.
Yeah.
Even in his own fan base.
Well, there was also a shot of him at the end of the game where he's like getting ready to celebrate, getting ready to he's starting to like run a little bit, and he's like ripping off his headset and his like the big the IFB box that basically straps around on your waist that has the controls and all that on it. He rips that off. It looks like it weighs like at least 15 pounds. And he just chucks it like 50 feet into the stands. Like, if that lands on somebody's head, they're going to knock him out. And he's like, it's almost like Andy Fales always talks about this, the angry celebration. Yeah! Yeah! It's not like a jubilant thing. It's not a happy thing. It's a fuck yeah! Almost like a fuck you celebration.
Who do you think you are? I am. Celebration.
Yeah, who do you think you are? I am. I'm Ryan Day. Where the fuck is Lou Holtz right now?
It's just like, can we smile, man? But I also realize the pressure that guy particularly is under. He's probably feeling more relief at the time than joy.
Yeah, but it didn't seem like a lot of times it did seem like relief throughout the playoff. Like, oh, thank God we won. Thank God. This was like, it was a release of like demons. I don't know. It didn't seem like a very happy celebration. It seemed like
he is a villain. Like,
fuck you.
Even if he's a great guy in real life and we don't know, the verdict is out. Like, I don't think there's anything that this guy.
There's something awkward about him, and his look is part of it, with the beard and all that.
It looks very villainous. Yeah, I don't know. Part of me feels sorry for him too, because it's like, I don't know, like when everything you do is under a microscope and you have two bad moments, but then it's just like he hasn't done anything to endear himself to anyone. No. You could tell that they've got a nice little PR campaign going about, look what these Ohio State fans did to my family. Bruce Feldman wrote a big piece on it. Herb Street is clearly in his corner as his kid plays there and all that. But that was what was interesting to me about. I did not care about that game at all. Yeah, it was so weird.
What's the problem?
I don't know.
What's the issue? Because that was that national championship game lead up had no buzz whatsoever, and the game wasn't very good. Like I had said last week, I was more interested in the NFL games, and that's just not me. Like, if it's 14 weeks of the year, I would rather not watch any NFL if it means I get to watch college football. I'm college football all the way, but when it got to the end, it changed. Like, I wanted to see that Bills-Ravens game more than this Ohio State-Notre Dame game. I don't know. I liked the playoff. I liked that we got these home playoff games. I thought that it was really cool, even in the quarterfinals and semifinals. I liked that, but when we got to the end, it just wasn't the crescendo that it normally is.
I do think that it goes too late, and I don't know how you fix that.
That's certainly a problem because the NFL is getting so good in the playoffs.
I also feel like let me ask you this, because you're a Big Ten fan and I'm not. It doesn't.
What's going on? Are you okay?
Yes, I got my dog. He's trying to fucking eat everything in sight. It just drives me nuts. I do think there's an aspect where the conferences are so big now. It didn't feel like a Big Ten versus SEC type thing. Like that would have galvanized like a group of people.
You're right. Like if it was Ohio State against Georgia.
Yeah. And let me even ask you this. Like, as a Big Ten fan, do you root for Ohio State? Like, because as a
No.
Big 12 fan, like, I didn't sit around and root for Texas.
No.
Now, if it was
I wanted
Kansas
Notre
State,
Dame
I
to win.
would have. Yeah. I just wonder, too, like, if, let's say it would have been Oregon in that spot.
Yeah, that I don't know.
You know, like, it doesn't feel the same. And we've done this to ourselves in the industry. We keep growing. Keep doing all. It's like the Mick Cronin conversation from the other day. I don't know. Like the SEC still has that. Like if Ole Miss would have been playing, I guess Alabama fans would have been rooting for Ole Miss against Ohio State, right?
Probably.
Does that exist anywhere else anymore? Like it's like a Southern pride thing there. It's almost bigger than
Right.
It's bigger than football, I want to say, and I say this speaking on behalf of my relatives who are all obsessed with the Cox. But when I watch Ohio State even, and I know they're like as Big Ten as it come, but it doesn't feel like it to me. They feel like a national program that is so far off of what Iowa and Wisconsin are.
Right. Oh yeah, it's not even close.
And I'm a Big 12 guy saying this, so I could be completely out of place. But that's like when I broke this game down. Like I almost feel like Iowa's closer to Notre Dame than they are Ohio State.
Yeah. I don't know how to fix it. I don't know how it's going to be any different next year. It was disappointing the way that this thing ended, and I don't know what the ratings were for the game, but I really did. I loved the regular season and all the lead up and the first couple rounds of the playoffs. And then it just, maybe it goes too long. Maybe
they've got to find a way to get it done faster. They have to.
I think it was Paul Feinbaum who said, and he got killed for this take, that the playoff needs to start during the Army-Navy week. Army-Navy can't just be sitting there as a standalone game anymore. And I agree with that. Like,
why don't we play Army-Navy on a Thursday night?
That's the man. You're screwing around with tradition. I wouldn't have a problem. I've never been totally in love with the Army-Navy game. I think it's cool, but it's never like.
I think it would get better ratings.
Or play it at the start of the year. Play it.
Play it the same.
That be the only game that's week 0.
Play it the same week. Do it on a Thursday night, and do the playoff. All the games are on that Saturday and Sunday, or Friday night and Saturday. Like you can still highlight Army Navy, but it's a great tradition, but the sport as a whole has to come before it. And I'm like, we're all feeling this. Like I don't know how many of your friends, Chris, like said this to you. Like our little text group, like there was no buzz about that game the other night.
None.
And a lot of Big Ten fans are in that chain, right? Like,
yeah. Bizarre. And you wonder how do you feel if you're an SEC fan? I mean, you think the Big Ten fans
didn't
more
watch.
Engaged.
Like,
how about SEC fans?
I love looking at like who's watching these games where. In Birmingham, Alabama, and all of these SEC games is always like the top market. It's like 70% of the TVs were on this game. I would love to see that for that game. I don't know what the answer is, but I guarantee it's well below 50.
I think they really need to look at getting rid of conference championship weekend, starting things earlier, maybe look at some flex scheduling, and doing something with that Army-Navy game to get into the playoff sooner, and then maybe looking to move off Monday for the national championship.
You mark my words. Instead of getting rid of the conference championship game, we're going to make these little stupid-ass conference championship tournaments that will provide seeding for the college football playoff. That's what's next. They're going to add to it, not take away.
Now, I would like to see some flex scheduling. I would, but I don't want to see like a mini tournament for a conference championship that doesn't mean anything. Ohio State wasn't even in their conference championship game, and they won the national title.
Notre Dame doesn't even play in a conference.
Boom. They don't
even have to play in that. Yeah.
Like, look at Oregon. Oregon beat Penn State in the Big Ten championship and got a much worse draw because of it.
Yeah, I don't think it's make the tournament smaller. I don't think it's any of that. They've got to figure out the timing. Eventually, they're going to have to move college football up a week and start it that last week of August. That's coming. Honestly, it's fine. Like, they probably should have been doing that anyways. Nothing would drive me more nuts than these playoff teams having 5 weeks in between their last game and the playoff. Like, that really sucked. But yeah, I think we all agree, even our audience, from reading what you guys have to say, that there was just not much. I haven't seen the ratings, but I'm sure they're great. Like, because Notre Dame's a huge fan base, Ohio State's a huge fan base.
I'd like to see it compared to the last 10 years. Just see the 4-team playoff and go from there. Because I feel like it's going to be pretty low compared to most of the other ones.
Well, that was a fun show today. Who do you got? Chiefs, Bills, real quick.
I think the Bills are going to break through.
Okay.
I think it's time. Josh Allen is playing like the best player in the NFL. I think the Chiefs have some flaws. I think they're going to go in there and just choke Mitch Holthus out. Just choke him out. I can't wait to hear his call at the end of the game when the Chiefs lose. Mitch Holthus, the play-by-play voice of the Chiefs. They doubted us. They said we couldn't win.
Yeah, Josh Allen was doing that after the game the other day.
Oh, yeah, I heard that. Nobody gave us a chance.
Well, I mean, I don't know about that, Josh, but these guys, I tell you. I mean, Ryan Day.
You go back before the season,
Ohio
though,
State
there
was
weren't a lot of people that thought the Bills were going to be in this position because they lost their receivers.
Isn't it funny that Ohio State, which we were told in the offseason is the best roster in the history of college football, man, such an underdog story. Everybody counted them out. Well,
yeah, right.
Kind of. Fun show. Thanks to Aiden for filling in for sickly Aiden. Matt Van Winkle.
Yeah, I hope Van Winks, man. I hope you start feeling better. He's
just puking, diarrhea,
projectile vomiting all over the place.
Diarrhea at the same time. A lot going on here at Iowa Everywhere. We have Murph and Andy coming up today at 1 o'clock live. Hope you all enjoy it. We'll be back on Monday.
CW Pod.
Oh yeah, CW Pod coming up today as well.
What is it? Just
my
you?
pastor, me and my pastor. Remember?
Oh, this is the pastor program.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. He's awesome. You'll love him.
Now, have you already recorded the podcast?
No, I'm doing it here in an hour.
So you just did this show 90 minutes.
Yep.
Then you're doing CW Pod. Then you're doing
Williams and Bloom. Yep, I'm a machine today.
Wow.
Just cranking out the content, baby.
Here comes that tea, man. That's what you need it for.
If I didn't have the tea, I wouldn't even be able to make it. I'd be asleep.
You have a raging cloner right now. Raging.
Third-ranked team in the country, baby. On my way to Arizona tomorrow. Let's go.
All right.
Aiden Wyatt, Chris Hassel. My name is Chris Williams. We are, as always, presented by Fairway Meat and Grocery in the Channel Seed Studio. We'll see you guys next week.